You in San Diego with Gabriel Iglesias to talk about the Fluffy movie. Welcome to San Diego.
Thank you.
This is your hometown.
I was born here. I was
right.
born here, and I lived here for about 5 years, and then little by little, my mom and I moved north until we landed in Long Beach.
Right, and you lived in Project 8 housing, and you have
you name it, man. Yeah.
5 brothers and sisters.
One brother, 4 sisters. One brother, 6 sisters. I have 2 new sisters that I haven't met yet.
Kinahora, as we say in Italian. Very, very good. Yeah.
Is that what that means?
You've been boating up. So, when did you first realize you were funny? That's a softball question.
When I got a check.
That's when
I got paid. I'm like, all right, it's official. You know, everybody thinks that they're funny in one way, shape, or another. Like, oh, I'm funny. I could do that. You know, but when somebody pays you to make them laugh, that's like, wow, okay.
All right, you didn't coin the phrase, I'm not fat, I'm fluffy.
I think that's Garfield.
Okay. Because I was going to say, if you did, there's a lot of T-shirts. People owe you a lot of money for royalties.
You know what's crazy is that I've trademarked Fluffy. And yeah, you know, there is a lot of those shirts out there. But I think it was Garfield back in the day that did that. And my mom heard me call myself fat, and she's the one that said, you're not fat, you're fluffy. So then I just ran with the whole fluffy name.
But that was old school. I'm not fat, I'm fluffy. I think that's from my parents' generation, too.
Possibly.
I think that's kind of old school.
Possibly.
Because my sister was a fluffer. Now we won't talk
yeah.
about that. Okay, all right. Are you still in touch with Amanda Bynes?
No, I have not seen Amanda Bynes since back in the All That days.
That's why she's in so much trouble.
If
she had you as a role model.
I think that here's the thing, is that her parents are both in the business, and I don't think that she had the opportunity to have a normal childhood because they worked her very much, from day one. I remember seeing her on Nickelodeon stages, when I wasn't even part of the show yet, and I would watch her, and she was amazing. She was very, very talented, but I mean, you got to be brought up early on to be that good when you're 8, 9, 10 years old.
I was at the screening last night. How do you account for this rabid fan base? Before the show went on, it was like I was at a Grateful Dead concert in a 200-seat theater, and it sounded like I was at a 2,000-seat auditorium. Fluffy! How do you account for this? What do you do to attract these people?
I just think that I'm relatable. I think that the fact that I show people that I'm vulnerable, I get a lot of people that tell me I remind them of cousins or brothers or a good friend or a buddy.
Right. I know a guy like you.
Yeah, exactly. I know somebody like you. And I don't know. I mean, it's insane how crazy it is. I mean, they're chanting like that, and I wasn't even there yet.
Oh no, you were an hour and a half.
I was still
They haven't even seen
away.
the movie yet.
Yeah.
And then your presence alone is enough to get them hyped up like this.
So I mean, it's crazy. It's like that at live shows, but the fact that it's happening at the movie screening, that's insane.
All right, I'm a big cartoon fan.
Okay.
And what I love most of all in your sets is that the voices, the cartoon sounds, and you've done a lot of cartoon voices. Where did you get this inspiration? Because I mean, it's, you're not Michael Winslow. I'm not going to go that far because
no, that guy's a whole different level.
I know, but his whole routine was just
sound
effects. You are a storyteller.
I have a couple of good sound effects and character voices, and I think that I've just utilized them very well in my stories and my bits. It's not too many. Picking up dialects, certain accents and stuff like that. I'm pretty good at once I hear it enough times. As a kid, I was always mimicking Eddie Murphy. I loved Eddie Murphy, and I was always imitating Eddie Murphy. That was my thing. Oh, Eddie Murphy. And so when I did a school talent show, I basically did Eddie Murphy on stage without the cuss words.
Okay, we'll get to cuss words soon. Now, how does it? I mean, it's pretty amazing and impressive that you are getting a theatrical release of a concert film. Most of this stuff just goes to HBO
straight
or Showtime.
to cable. Yeah.
When was it? Could you remember the last time one of those was done?
Recently, actually, Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart had 2 films back to back. One was called Laugh at My Pain, and the other one was.
And they were theatrical releases.
Yes.
Not just like they four-wall the theater for.
No. They were actual legit theatrical releases, and it's because he had the success he had that Gulfstream Pictures approached me because they saw the numbers. They saw that his movies cost very little to make. They grossed millions, and they said, "Well, look, Kevin Hart and you both have very similar YouTube following, Twitter following." Facebook following, and fan base. They looked at the numbers as far as the touring numbers were concerned, and they said, well, it's kind of a calculated thing. We feel that this could be beneficial to you and to us. So I'm like, all right. They came up to me 2 weeks prior to me taping my last special. So I had to tape that special, and then they said, all right, now let's talk. And I only had a year to crank out the new one.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's so strange to see this type of a film in a theater. You'll see Justin Bieber, you'll see Miley Cyrus, you'll see young people performing and singing, but someone doing stand-up. Now, why did you decide to go with the theatrical route as opposed to cable? Because let's play devil's advocate. There are people out there that would probably say, well, why do I want to go to a theater to see him when I'm just going to wait and see him in concert?
Oh, for a couple of reasons. One, most of the time, I got parents that come to the shows and they say, our kids turned us on to you. They wanted to be here tonight, but they couldn't because the venue has age restrictions. You know, it's a comedy club. They can't get in because it's 21 and over. The casino doesn't allow it because it's 21 and over.
Right.
A lot of theaters, they have their age limits. So that's the first thing. I made the film PG-13 so that everybody can go. Secondly, you're not paying a $70 ticket. You're only
Right.
paying $10 to $12 to see
Yep.
basically the same concert.
Right.
You know.
And no 3D. You saved us the
You know,
$5
no
surcharge.
3D, but I think, man, my face is too big on the screen as it is.
you have a face that fills a screen. All right, it's PG-13, so you just wanted to attract younger people, because I know you're not afraid of working blue. I've seen Haunted House, too.
No. And see, that was Marlon's thing. Marlon's like, dude, I want you to push the envelope. And I told Marlon, I says, I've never cussed this much. If you were to take all my specials together, it wouldn't be this much cussing and this much racism in one, you know. Because he
Right.
had me saying some crazy stuff in that movie.
Oh, that was funny.
You know, see, it is funny, but it's not for everybody.
That's true,
It's not
and
for
in a
everybody.
strange way, I came to you through that film first, and Magic Mike as well.
Again, another one
Yeah,
where I got
right.
to cut loose a little bit.
I know, and now I see it. It's almost like going in reverse, but I have to say this. I did not expect anything inspirational. I did not expect any type of positive messages. I just thought you were going to get out there, cock around for a yaha, tell some jokes, and I was surprised that you actually moved me. A good, what would you say, 25% of the film is dedicated to talking about your father. Now, your dad shows up, but when you haven't seen your father in 30 years,
plus, yeah.
and your old man shows up in line to get your autograph at a concert, I mean, I would have walked away. I mean, you did walk away. I don't know what I would have done if I was in your position.
It was. I remember that night. It was so just. It was surreal because it's like, when it hit me that it was actually him, and I'm looking back and I see him, and I'm just. I was freaking out. I couldn't even. People were trying to hand me Sharpies, and I couldn't even hold a Sharpie. I was shaking, and I kept repeating myself. And the people were like, "Are you okay?" And I'm just repeating myself. And my girlfriend came over and she's like, "Are you all right?" And I'm like, "Oh my God!" And it was a little mini scene. People were like, you could hear the commotion in the line. And I had my manager go back and pull him out. And we wound up calling him that night.
Right, at 3 o'clock in the morning. And he really did call at 3 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah, he picked up.
Wow.
I didn't call him. My girl did.
Right,
I couldn't do it.
okay.
I couldn't do it.
And
then once we did have a sit down, it wasn't just him and I. It was him and his buddy. He has a friend that lives in Santa Monica. And that's how he found out I was going to be at the show. His friend is the one that went and looked up everything. My dad's not very computer savvy,
Right.
but his friend is. And
Right.
so it was the four of us sitting there, and it was the longest 2 hours, just sitting and talking and trying to catch up and trying to figure out, put the pieces back together as to why things turned out the way that they did.
The end of the film is some of the most exceptionally structured, dramatic comedy that I've seen in person or on a screen in a stand-up setting in a long, long time, and I wasn't expecting that. And I came away from the movie, I have to say, when I watch someone like Gilbert Gottfried or Jeffrey Ross, I scream with laughter. With you, I just had this stupid smile slapped on my face for 90 minutes, and then at the end of the film, I'm not going to say I cried because I didn't, but I was really touched at the way in which you were able to smuggle this stuff in. That's the hard part. If you're going to have a message, don't throw bricks at my head. I know you shouldn't drink. I know you shouldn't beat your wife. Don't make movies about that. And you smuggle this information in a way that is just so acceptable and entertaining, too. This is the only comedy concert film that I can think of that begins with a battered mother in the pre-credit sequence. And it's like, where the hell is this guy going with?
Where's he going with this?
And there's a little segment at the beginning of the film that it's kind of like a fictionalized account of you growing up, getting the Eddie Murphy Raw video.
Basically my parents meeting, and that is a true story. They actually met in Tijuana. This was back in the mid-'70s, and my mom met my dad at a club one night. My mom was married, and she was not very happy. It was a rough time at home, and she wanted to get away. And what better way to get away than with a mariachi? And
Named Jesus.
named
It's a win-win situation, yeah. So you were a love child,
I was
basically.
very much that. You know, a lot of times, you know, kids get, you know, people are born out of whatever. But in my case, my mom loved my dad very, very much. And she made it very clear, oh, you know, the other ones, she would tell me, oh, the other ones, you know, things happen, Miko, but you. And I mean, you know, everybody else had to go to boarding school. I was the only one that got to stay home and went to regular school. And my mom gave me all the attention in the world.
And you were so close to her. I mean, I'm just assuming. I mean, I sit and I listen.
Extremely close. And, you know, I would see my brother and my sisters. They'd come over and visit from time to time. It was just the two of us. My mom never brought anybody around the house. She never had any boyfriends that I saw. It was just us.
Wow. And it's so sad that you weren't able to take the picture. You talk about the picture where you don't have any picture with your parents.
I have some. This is a funny photo. There's a photo that my cousin gave me, and that's a whole other story in itself. I have a cousin who's a radio DJ, and I had never met him before. And once I started doing stand-up, I'm at an event in Arizona. He was a radio DJ there in town. And he goes, "Hey, your last name's Iglesias." I go, "Yeah, my last name's Iglesias." He goes, "I'm an Iglesias too." I'm like, "Oh, where's he going?" That's right.
How's Julio?
And we're talking, and he goes, "I bet you anything we're related." I'm like, "Oh, this guy's gonna want money. Something's gonna want something." And I had given him my number, and he hit me up. I don't know, a few months later, and he says, "Listen, man." He goes, "Remember when I said that we're related?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "I have a picture of your mom pregnant with you." And I'm like, "You're shitting me." And sure enough, his dad came out to the show and brought me a picture, and it's a picture of my mom. You can see the belly on my mom. She's got her old school haircut, and my dad's sitting next to her.
So in a sense,
do
have it.
In a sense.
Well, that's great. No, but that's wonderful. I mean, at
But
least
that picture was just like, wow, it floored me.
wow, that's
It floored me.
amazing.
And my mom was still alive at the time, and I showed her, and I told, you know, it was like, she goes, "Well, look how good I look." That's all she said. She didn't give a damn that, oh, she's pregnant. Look, my dad's with her. She look how good I look.
So how are things between you and your dad now?
Haven't spoken to him since my mom's passing. He has reached out to my girlfriend. We've kept in touch, you know, through text and stuff like that. It was a little bit hard right after. You know, I felt it was kind of awkward for me to go and start talking to him. I definitely plan on reaching out to him now, especially because the movie's coming out, and I'd rather he hear about it from me than from his buddies, because I do want him to see the story.
Sure,
and
sure.
there is no ill will. For me, emotionally, I couldn't handle it. I still haven't been on my mom's gravesite.
Wow.
You know.
Neither have I. But I had to fly her back to Chicago to bury her. So I buried her, and I haven't seen the headstone. It's been about a few years, so I know that.
I've seen photos of the headstone. My brother was in charge of that one, and I guess he should have finished high school because it's grammatically all messed up.
Well, you should go just for your own.
I feel like it would tear me apart if I did.
And you'd feel great when you left. You would, in a crazy way. I bet you'd feel great
so?
when you. Yeah, because you did it. You got this huge hurdle out of your way. Listen, I'm giving you advice, my God. What's wrong with me? You are one of the nicest, most personable interviews I have ever had, and I can't thank you enough for coming to town. And thanks to Open Road, they brought you and Damon Wayans. They brought Damon down here for Haunted House too.
Was Damon all over the place? Because Damon just
so serious. I can't even tell you. It was like I was talking to a heart surgeon. He was so serious. When he's on television, he's like a Super Bowl, bouncing all over the place. But in person, he was very serious, and I was kind of grateful for that. When I meet you, I don't want you to do your shtick. I'm not going to ask you, "Hey, do that funny voice for me, would you?" Do the little girl's voice. No, you like that. You like that. No, you love that. That's the best thing, because when they stop coming up and asking you, that's when you're in trouble. Thank you so much. It was a real pleasure talking to you. Continued success. Thanks.